Join forces to bring Destination Crenshaw toward the finish line. Now, beyond the headline phraseology of toward the finish line, if you actually read the article, it said that Black-owned contractors are now being mobilized, major new financing is being secured, and it is anticipated that construction activities will begin within the next weeks. That statement has more hedges than a Beverly Hills mansion, more hedges than a nervous groom's wedding vows written by a divorce lawyer. But it's funny how progress starts moving once somebody turns on a microphone. 4 weeks of KBLA editorials and suddenly everyone has found their hard hats. It's amazing what happens when the community starts asking questions out loud, and this is why Black media matters. We don't need more empty promises. We need a finished project. Political accountability to Black fellow citizens means that elected officials and institutions must answer for their actions or inaction in ways that are real, measurable, and consequential when they fail to follow through. I suppose the good news here is that LA City Council President and 8th District Representative Marquise Harris Dawson is now officially on the record. But to be clear, he's also on the clock. Remember now, it is anticipated that construction activities will begin within the next weeks. We shall see. We have exercised our right to free speech, but there are other rights the Black business community can exercise as well. This is a classic example of a public nuisance claim, if ever there was one. Again, we shall see. What I can tell you is that Black business owners and Crenshaw community residents have been calling, emailing, and literally showing up in our lobby demanding more and asking how they can sign on to this effort. Put simply, after years of delay, the people have had enough. My big mama put it this way: once a task you have first begun, never finish until it is done. Be the labor great or small, do it well or not at all. Now, I need to put on my hard hat, go outside, and wait for these procrastination Crenshaw construction crews to show up. I'll let you know if and when they do. Trust and believe. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. As always, we welcome your feedback.
Junior Show. The Jesse Jackson Junior Show. The Jesse Jackson Junior Show. The Jesse Jackson Junior Show. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580, download the
app. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. You're live in the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. It's worldwide with Wilmer Leon. Dr. Leon is a political scientist whose primary areas of expertise are Black politics, public policy, and American government. For 11 years, he was a lecturer in the political science department at Howard University in Washington, D.C. Dr. Leon, we have got so much real estate to cover today. I want to welcome you to the show. And I can't think of anyone I'd rather be speaking with at this hour than you.
Well, you are too kind. I greatly appreciate that. Good afternoon and greetings to your audience.
Dr. Leon, voters are angry. That's what the Washington Post writes today in an editorial. And there are some other takeaways from the Colorado primaries, as well as the primaries that have taken place since we've last talked. Dr. Leon, let's unpack some of this. What's going on in the electorate?
Well, as we talked about before, I raised the question, I think it was right after the results of the New York City and the Washington, D.C. Democrat mayoral primaries, is a new politics developing that the African-American community needs to pay attention to. Democratic socialists, whether they are admitted as such or Democrats that are subscribing to a number of the policy initiatives by Democratic socialists, are seizing the moment. They have in New York, they have now in Colorado, as well as Washington, D.C. And one of the also interesting things about this is there's tremendous pushback within the establishment of the Democratic Party, particularly from African Americans. And that to me is incredibly surprising and telling at the same time.
You know, when I think about Martin Luther King Jr. in his book, The Strength to Love, one of the final chapters of the book is how should the Christian view communism? And he makes the distinction between godless communism and the idea that socialism at its heart, beyond the rhetoric of Karl Marx, is the idea that every single person should share in the bounty of the wealth and be able to participate in uniqueness across any government system. Hence, a democratic social mission, social agenda, democratic socialism that speaks to healthcare for all and housing for all, and reorienting our priorities. Dr. King was called a communist by J. Edgar Hoover, as well as, quite frankly, the Kennedys. Hunter Pitts, Jack O'Dell, who worked for my father for 20 years, was asked to leave and distance himself from Martin Luther King Jr. There are many others who worked with Dr. King on the development of a social philosophy and doctrine for civil rights movement. And Dr. King was challenged because of his relationship with those African-American thinkers and activists. Why should we be afraid of democratic socialists as African-Americans?
We shouldn't. And I've just written a piece entitled, "It's Not the Messenger, It's the Message." No matter it, Does a rose by any other name smell as sweet? I think as Shakespeare asked us. It doesn't matter what you call it. It's all about what it does. So we're talking about the redistribution of wealth. And for some reason, when the wealth of the nation is being redistributed in order to ensure that the least of us are able to sustain ourselves, somehow that's a problem. But when you give tax breaks to the wealthy so that they can generate more wealth for themselves, because we know that trickle-down economics is, as George Bush said, voodoo economics, and doesn't work, somehow that's okay.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. More with Dr. Wilmer Leon when we come forward.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Wishing happy birthday to KBLA. 5 years old, yeah, with more that's coming your way. Congratulations, come on, y'all, let's celebrate. Happy birthday to KBLA. Look, 5 years deep and we still going up. Built it from the ground, never real, no one else. Real talk on the air, then the truth get heard. Every day the proof getting served. He had a vision and he stayed with the plan. Now they tapped in from the beach to the land. Never back down, 7 days of the week, still going up now. We 5 years deep. Wishing happy birthday KBLA. Happy smiling, you did it with 5 years today. Congratulations, come on y'all, let's celebrate. Happy birthday to KBLA.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS like Mark?
I've been doing home remodeling for 30 plus years, but the economy crashed. I wound up losing my home, losing my job, and on top of that, owing the IRS a ton of money. I owed the IRS $114,000. It really, truly was the worst part of my life.
Then Mark found tax relief advocates.
On news radio, I heard about TRA, and I thought, what's the worst that could happen? So I picked up the phone and I called them. When it was all said and done, TRA settled my $114,000 debt for $100, and I'm telling you, I was ecstatic. Could not believe it. Would recommend TRA to anyone.
If you owe 10 or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS, don't lose hope. Do what Mark did and call TRA for a consultation.
But TRA did. They gave me a second chance, and I'm forever grateful.
Visit TRA.com or call 800-575-8935. 800-575-8935. That's 800-575-8935.
This November, you'll decide who leads California. So shouldn't you hear directly from the people asking for your vote? Join us for California Voices, a political town hall and ballot forum, Saturday, October 3rd, 2026. Meet candidates running for governor, lieutenant governor, attorney general, and other major statewide and local offices, including Mayor of Los Angeles, City Attorney, and LA County Sheriff. Get clear, nonpartisan breakdowns of the propositions on your November ballot, both sides, no spin. And ask your questions directly, in real conversation, face to face. California Voices is brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 and the Empowerment Congress, giving you the information you need before you vote. Mark your calendar, Saturday, October 3rd, 2026, California Voices. Follow KBLA 1580 for details and download the KBLA 1580 app. Your vote, your voice. Be there.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Folly, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the me. KBLA.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. We're worldwide with Wilmer Leon on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Dr. Leon, we've been taking a look in this hour at the elections and the messages that are being sent. First, in New York with Mr. Mamdani and the sweeping victory, and now the loss of Diana DeGette in Colorado. This is no longer just a movement in New York. This movement is spreading across the country. Dr. Leon, your thoughts?
Yes, it is. It's spreading across the country. I think the African American community needs to pay attention to what the Democratic Socialists are standing for. They are standing with unions. They are standing with social programs. They are standing with education. They are standing for many of the same policy initiatives that the Democrats since the late 50s have been supposed to be defending, protecting, and articulating. And for some reason now, as Democratic Socialist candidates are running and now winning, all of a sudden there's a problem. But here's one of the big things that they really don't want to discuss is the impact that AIPAC is having, and AIPAC is taking a whipping on a lot of these Democrats that are losing to Democratic Socialist candidates because these candidates are also opposing the genocide in the Zionist colony known as Israel. And so when you look at Espaillat in New York, I think he was a 5-term member of Congress. AIPAC put $650,000 at the very last minute into his campaign. He lost. And there are a number of other Democrats.
I lost. AIPAC put $8 million in the campaign against me in March. $8 million. I raised $300,000. We had been leading all across the country, all across the district for the 6 months that I was in the campaign. And AIPAC showed up kind of covertly through various super PACs and other ways and forms that they engaged the campaign, and they were successful. But there is a day of reckoning. There is a day of reckoning for them.
And let me be very clear here. What I'm saying is not anti-AIPAC. What I am saying is AIPAC's interests are not the same interests for the African American community. So I'm being pro-me. I'm not being I'm against genocide.
I'm against genocide, anti-Semitism, anti-Arabism. We want people to have a two-state solution, and we want them to live side by side in a world of peace. That's not unreasonable, I don't think.
If your politics are supporting the United States sending our hard-earned tax dollars to another country when we can't afford health care in this one, I have a problem with that. If you are for sending our tax dollars to another country that is actually in violation of the American Arms Export Control Act at the expense of our being able to have education for our children, I got a problem with that.
I think the voters do too. And I think they're showing it critical.
Very clearly.
The consequences, however, are emerging increasingly for Democratic leadership of another confrontation that's likely to take place in the Democratic Party. And that is the Democratic Socialists of America, many of them who are winning and are now Democratic nominees for their congressional seats, are not pledging their first vote in the United States Congress to Hakeem Jeffries. What are the consequences of a coalition of Democratic Socialists and moderate Blue Dog Democrats uniting to stop the first African American Speaker of the House?
It's called democracy. And last I checked, it's called democracy. And I got to go back to the AIPAC point, because you have to look at how much money AIPAC has been giving to Hakeem Jeffries. So they can put this Democratic Party shield over it if they want to. My question is, when AIPAC came after you, did Hakeem cry foul? Did Hakeem come to your defense? I don't think he did. When Jamal Bowman lost in New York, did Letitia James cry foul and come to Jamal Bowman's defense? I don't think she did. So you've got to stop the hypocrisy. You have to be consistent. And what they are telling you is, as another piece I wrote, he who pays the piper calls the tune.
Mm, mm. Can we move to Trump's income topping more than $2 billion based upon FEC disclosures? The president has turned the presidency into a worldwide grift.
Absolutely. And not only a worldwide grift for him, but for his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, for his chief negotiator, is it Weissman? Is that the guy's name? For the, I think the head of the FCC's sons. I'm sorry, the Federal
Donald
Exchange.
Trump, Eric Trump, the Trump family.
They're getting paid at our expense. It's part of it is called the emoluments clause. I think there are incredible violations of the emoluments clause. The president is not supposed to financially benefit while in office off of the backs of the position of the president and at the expense of the American people. And they are going around the country, around the world, cutting all of these deals. Why would who was it, Qatar, give him an airplane? What, anybody want to explain to me why that was done? Or was it Bahrain or whoever it was, Bahrain or Qatar?
I think it was the Qatari.
Yeah. Why would they give him an airplane? Which is
why does he get to retire with it and return it and take it to his presidential library? That's a personal gift to the tune of $400 million to a sitting president. There's no way to shuffle that card any other different. It's a personal gift on the scale that we've not seen in 46 previous presidents combined. No one has received a gift of that magnitude.
No one, and he would probably tell you they gave it to me. No, you are the representative of the American people, which is why when presidents receive all of these gifts, they don't get to take those things home. They are given to presidents as representatives of the American people. This is grand theft, felony theft at the highest order.
And if there is a gift granted to a U.S. president, it is supposed to be turned over to the archives as part of the archival property of the people of the United States. And it can be housed and on display. It is not for the purposes of one's personal benefit. That is more than a high crime and misdemeanor. The relationship and the grift could be impacting foreign policy. Do you believe that the president is engaging in some level of quid pro quo?
Oh, there's no question. Why else would he do it? I don't think there's any question at all that one of the things that a lot of the leaders in many of these countries understand is if you want to get something done through the Trump administration, you play to the ego and you play to the pocketbook of Donald Trump. And so whether in the quid pro quo, whether the quo manifests itself immediately or manifests itself after he's left office, we know that Jared Kushner and his family are benefiting from these land deals that are being cut, from these other types of business deals that are being cut. And so, yes, I would have to say there's nothing but quid pro quo engaged in here.
In these negotiations between the United States and Iran, Qatar is playing a significant role. Do you see any relationship between the announcement that was recently made by Qatar that the United States in Doha will not hold direct talks with Iran? Are they wielding that kind of power over American foreign policy?
If you're asking, are the Qataris impacting this? I don't think so. I think what the Qataris were doing with that statement was they were stating for the record what the facts are, not that they're impacting the negotiations, but that Donald Trump's description of what was going to transpire was not a negotiating session, that the Iranians were going to participate in. I think the Qataris were once again calling a fraud a fraud.
Shouldn't the negotiation over the Strait of Hormuz be between the United States and Iran, bilateral negotiation for the purposes of resolving the conflict? What role do the Qatari play in solving or settling the current crisis?
The fact that the Iranians can't trust the United States because no matter what Donald Trump says, he reneges on it immediately. And when you look at Iran, this whole issue was not an issue once the JCPOA was signed. There was an agreement. The Strait of Hormuz was open. General Soleimani was still alive. The Supreme Leader Khomeini was still alive. Everything, for all intents and purposes, was going as agreed to until Donald Trump tore up the agreement. So now Iran says, we can't trust you. You do not only do you not stick to the things you've signed, you darn sure don't stick to the things you say. So now a trusted third party has to enter into the dialogue in order to manage and to provide some level of credibility, because you can't trust what Donald Trump says.
Dr. Leon, it's also clear that one of the stickling items in any negotiation for peace is the insistence that Israel withdraw its troops from southern Lebanon, meaning they are specifically leveraging any peace deal with Donald Trump's ability to get a commitment from Netanyahu to withdraw Israel back to its internationally recognized borders and boundaries. What are your thoughts about that?
That demonstrates to me the power of Iran, the power of the resistance movement. And for people who just see this as Iran versus the United States and Israel, don't understand the real interest that Israel has, which is what they call Greater Israel. They're trying to take over the whole region. And those in the region are saying no. And now they have developed enough power and resources to effectively push back.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to Dr. Wilmer Leon. Dr. Leon is a regular contributor on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show here on Wealthy Wednesdays. We go worldwide with Dr. Leon on Wednesdays. Dr. Leon, one of the questions that I'd like to raise in the next segment of our show, which will be coming forward in just a couple of minutes, are your thoughts about, one, the birthright citizenship case. I also want to delve a little deeper, because I've had a little bit more time to think about it, on the question of the transgendered decision and how it draws a parallel, at least from my perspective, to Dred Scott. And during the break, I raised the question with you, and I know we may have to discuss it when we come forward. I raised the question that the attack on birthright citizenship and the idea of birthright citizenship is in Section 1 of the 14th Amendment. But in the same section, separated by a period, is another sentence. And the other sentence is the language of equal protection. Personally, we saw what the court said yesterday about birthright citizenship. Trump lost 6-3 decision at the federal Supreme Court. But I think what he's really angling at, and he could not have angled at it but for the debate over immigration in the United States, I think he's really coming after equal protection under the law. To weaken equal protection under the law, first he had to weaken birthright citizenship. Again, both elements are in the first section of the 14th Amendment. Now, in order to weaken equal protection under the law, Dr. Leon, the Trump administration must now come after Brown versus the Board of Education. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. I'm very interested in Dr. Leon's thoughts on this subject matter when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580. More worldwide with Wilmer Leon when we come forward.
It's Afternoon Drive Time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Black Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson is praising the Supreme Court's decision rejecting President Trump's effort to end birthright citizenship.
Today's decision allows our residents to continue to live, work, and contribute to the fabric of our city without fear of losing their most fundamental right.
Johnson says the ruling reaffirms that every child born in the U.S. is a citizen after the court found Trump's executive order targeting the 14th Amendment unlawful. Actor Danny Glover is opening up about his Alzheimer's diagnosis. In an exclusive Today interview, the 79-year-old said he's been living with the disease for several years and knows things will continue to change as it progresses. And Serena Williams' return to singles play ended with a first-round Wimbledon loss to Australia's Maya Joint. The 44-year-old fell in 3 sets Tuesday in her first professional singles match since 2022. Williams will play doubles with her sister Venus on Thursday. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation has been at the forefront of inflammatory bowel disease research and care for over 50 years. Learn more about research, education, and support at Crohn'sColitisFoundation.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Both of LA's NBA teams will not have their best player next season. The roster for the Lakers and Clippers will look a lot different after LeBron told the Lakers he wants to play with another team, and Kawhi Leonard was traded to the Toronto Raptors. The Clippers traded Kawhi for starting forwards Brandon Ingram and Grady Dick and first-round draft picks in 2027, 2031, and 2033. Kawhi, who played 7 seasons with the Clippers, turned 35 on Monday. It's obvious the Clippers want to rebuild with a younger roster. The Clippers started last season with the oldest roster in the NBA. The tennis world is hoping Serena Williams continues her comeback after losing her first-round singles match Tuesday at Wimbledon. In her first match since 2022, the 44-year-old Serena lost in 3 sets to Maya Joint of Australia. Serena is still planning to play doubles at Wimbledon with Venus. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
I'm Reverend Gerald, the life coach. Is someone you love struggling with addiction and mental illness? Is improving your family's health important? Want to leave a legacy that your family can grow? Are you ready to enhance your perception of life experiences? Then wake up weekends at 7 a.m. with Urban Family Focus and get the wisdom, opportunity, resources, and motivation to live your best life. Join the conversation on Urban Family Focus Saturday and Sunday at 7 a.m.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
Don't be anxious or confused about AI. Take control of your career when you get the skills to tackle real business problems and design specialized solutions. HR Dive reported that entry-level talent with applied AI credentials can receive up to a 25% salary boost. But where do you find training that you can trust? Future-proof your career and deliver more value with Humans Lead the Way AI. Their hybrid learning courses use practical definitions, real-world examples, and strategic insights to help you and your team understand AI with confidence. No magic, no hacks, no shortcuts. Just practical knowledge that helps you use AI more successfully. Don't wait. AI can never replace people who know how to use it well. Register for courses today at humansleadtheway.com. That's humansleadtheway.com.
Point. Hey, you okay? You don't normally miss those shots.
Oh, I just haven't been as regular lately, and it's making me feel sluggish.
You should try Metamucil. It's been a game changer for me. Metamucil's plant-based psyllium fiber helps trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Ace, you're moving better than you were last week.
Definitely.
Metamucil keeps you moving. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Learn more at Metamucil.com.
And the match is about to begin.
Most of the team is out with COVID-19, so there'll be some substitutes tonight.
What's this? We have an unexpected guest on the field.
It's a dog, but they could do with extra players.
She's going for the ball.
Our front paws, hands or feet?
Soccer season is full of surprises, and COVID-19 could be one of them. If you test positive, prescription medications may help. Ask your doctor if they're right for you. Learn more at PfizerForAll.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580. We don't tell you what to think, just what to think about.
Wishing happy birthday to KBLA. 5 years old, yeah, with more that's coming your way. Congratulations, come on y'all, let's celebrate. Happy birthday to KBLA. Look, 5 years deep and we still going up. Built it from the ground, never real, no one else. Real talk on the air, then the truth get heard. Every day the proof getting served. He had a vision and he stayed with the plan. Now they tapped in from the beach to the land. Never back down, 7 days of the week, still going up now. We 5 years deep. Wishing happy birthday to KBLA. Happy Smiley, you did it with 5 years today. Congratulations, come on y'all, let's celebrate. Happy birthday to KBLA.
You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley drops the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the beat. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm very grateful that Dr. Wilmer Leon is my very special guest in this hour, and I'm going to ask for just a little bit of latitude before he delivers an answer to 2 questions about birthright citizenship and the parallel between Dred Scott and the transgender decision, by setting the stage for this coming Saturday, July 4th. There are 157 July 4ths from Jamestown, Virginia in 1619 to July 4th, 1776. For the slave, it was just another day. From July 4th, 1776 to Gettysburg, there are 87 additional July 4ths for the American slave. That is 87 years after Thomas Jefferson wrote that all men are created equal. But for the American slave, it was just another day. How do we know there are 87? Because in November of that year, 1863, Abraham Lincoln would return to Gettysburg, a campaign in the Civil War between July 1st and July 3rd, where both sides, Confederate and Union, North and South, red and blue, were in a great battle in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, July 1st through July 3rd, to determine who would define the meaning and the significance of July 4th. There are 20 years in a score. Abraham Lincoln began the Gettysburg Address by saying 87 years ago, therefore 87 years. But for the slave, just another day. Lincoln chose the 87th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence to offer a vision of a nation born again, a rebirth of the nation, rededicating itself to the principles that all men are created equal. He said, we've come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who gave their lives that the nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living, rather, to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they have fought here, thus so far nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to the cause for which they gave the last full measure of their devotion, that we are highly resolved that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and a government of, for, and by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. There are exactly 164 instances of July 4th, from July 4th, 1863 to July 4th, 2026, if you count both start and end dates. Each one of these July 4ths are different. America was and is becoming, on those 164 instances, a United States. Each July 4th is different, and its interpretation is not fixed. No July 4th celebration is the same after Gettysburg. Yesterday was a difficult July 4th celebration if you happen to be transgender. That's a fact. Their celebration will be fundamentally different. 1% of 1% of 1% of the population had their rights not protected by the Constitution of the United States, but returned to the states, just like slaves who would escape to freedom and be returned back to the plantation. The Reconstruction Amendments are responsible for that difference, and more specifically, the 14th Amendment, because it is the 14th Amendment that allows the Bill of Rights to apply to the former slave, African Americans, Native Americans, and to immigrants, including future immigrants who are naturalized, as well as to those who are entitled to birthright citizenship. It is a victory that we won to define and redefine America. The attack on birthright citizenship was just that. In Section 1 of the Section 1 of the 14th Amendment, it speaks to birthright citizenship, and what it says about birthright citizenship is delineated by a period. But immediately after that, Section 1 of the 14th Amendment begins talking about equal protection of the laws. The day after the birthright citizenship, Donald Trump instructed Speaker Johnson that this fight is not over. He's lost on birthright citizenship. But Dr. Leon, now the president is turning his attention to his real point, the elimination of equal protection of the laws for all of the American people. And that brings front and center Brown versus the Board of Education. Dr. Leon, your initial thoughts.
I can understand how the president thinks that he can attack equal protection until you read the Equal Protection Clause. Because the Equal Protection Clause reads that no state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States. That's the Privileges and Immunities Clause. Nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction equal protection. So under privileges and immunities, they talk about the United States, but in both the equal protection and the due process, they talk about persons. So you don't have to be a citizen in order to be protected by equal protection or due process. You just have to be a person.
Until Brown versus the Board of Education, because Brown versus the Board of Education overturned the 1896 decision in Plessy versus Ferguson. If Brown versus the Board of Education is not expanded but is in effect overturned, that leaves the law of the land in the 1896 interpretation of separate and unequal.
I can't debate that with you in the least. I'm just making the point that when you read the Constitution, the framers were very clear that people, not American citizens, are protected with equal protection and due process. That's my only point. I don't say that to negate your point.
I just wish Donald Trump and the administration.
Well, I wish Clarence Thomas.
I wish they saw such people.
I wish Clarence Thomas would read the Constitution once in a while. I wish Clarence Thomas had taken con law as you did in law school and as I did in law school. I wish they would have taken con law and read the damn thing.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to the great Dr. Wilmer Leon. More on KBLA Talk 1580 when we come forward.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Point. Hey, you okay? You don't normally miss those shots.
Oh, I just haven't been as regular lately, and it's making me feel sluggish.
You should try Metamucil. It's been a game changer for me. Metamucil's plant-based psyllium fiber helps trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Ace, you're moving better than you were last week.
Definitely.
Metamucil keeps you moving. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Learn more at metamucil.com.
And the match is about to begin.
Most of the team is out with COVID-19, so there'll be some substitutes tonight.
What's this? We have an unexpected guest on the field.
It's a dog. Well, they could do with extra players.
She's going for the ball.
Are front paws hands or feet?
Soccer season is full of surprises, and COVID-19 could be one of them. If you test positive, prescription medications may help. Ask your doctor if they're right for you. Learn more at PfizerForAll.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Listen up, KBLA delegation. We have something you need to hear. Right now, you may qualify for low-cost home internet. We're not talking about a catch. This is real. Many internet service providers offer low-cost internet plans if anyone in your household is enrolled in CalFresh, Medi-Cal, SSI, or is income eligible. There are a lot of families in our community who deserve to be connected. Here's all you do. Call 844-461-7893. That's the Get Connected call center. Real people ready to help you enroll today. Or go online to internetforallnow.org to find a provider near you. You may also qualify for a low-cost computer through Human IT. Connectivity is not a luxury. In 2026, it's a necessity. And you deserve access just like everybody else. Call 844-461-7893. That's 844-461-7893. KBLA's got you. If you missed any of this, you can always go to our website at KBLA1580.com. Brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 in partnership with the California Emerging Technology Fund, CETF.
My mom has decided to learn to paint, and she's good.
My dad's now into creative cuisine, and I've already put on 6 pounds.
Learning new things comes with age.
My mom, she started forgetting my name and what we're talking about.
Forgetting well-known things doesn't. Memory loss may be a sign of Alzheimer's disease. Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
In a world full of noise, one station keeps it real. KBLA Talk 1580, where the conversation goes deeper, the voices sound like yours, and the issues that matter most to our community take center stage. Progressive, powerful, unapologetically us. Whether you're driving through the city or tuning in from your home or office, join the public square. KBLA Talk 1580, your home for talk that enlightens, encourages, and empowers. Listen live on our free KBLA 1580 app, on our website at KBLA1580.com, or on your radio dial at 1580 AM.
Unapologetically progressive.
You deserve a treat. A $10 bill credit treat.
If you get an LADWP paper bill but go online to pay it, stop! Break up with your mailbox. It's time to go paperless. With paperless billing, bill reminders come straight to your inbox. You can access 7 years of past bills in your online account, and you don't have to deal with paper clutter piling up. It's a win for you, your time, and the environment. $10 bill credit for new LADWP paperless billing signups. LADWP.com/paperless.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Quality drops the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome to on KBLA Talk 1580. Dr. Leon, our guest in this hour, is the host, producer of the nationally broadcast radio talk show Inside the Issues with Wilmer Leon on Sirius XM Satellite Radio Channel 126. He's the author of Politics, Another Perspective, commentary, and analysis on race, war, ethics, and the American political landscape in the age of Obama. He's also a contributing author to Democratic Destiny and the District of Columbia, Lexington Books 2010. Dr. Leon, how else can we support your work?
Folks, just go to WilmerLeon.com. Go to WilmerLeon.com. Everything you need to know is right there. And that's a simple answer to your question.
Dr. Leon, I want to raise this final question and obviously leave time for your word of hope at the end of the program. We've put our attention on the birthright citizenship case, which was decided 6-3 yesterday at the Supreme Court. It should have been 9-0. That's how plain the language is in the 14th
Correct.
Amendment. So there is this cabal with on the court that didn't see it that way. They saw the Constitution as being unconstitutional, which is amazing. And our guest, Mr. Pittner, brought that forward with us yesterday, and I've been seeing it now everywhere on social media, that the Constitution, by these three justices, was declared unconstitutional. The point that I want to make, however, is however you feel about the LGBTQ community, however you feel about the transgendered community, when it comes to the Constitution of the United States, we find ourselves in the same boat at the same time whenever a federal constitutional decision is made, because there's no such thing as a narrow constitutional interpretation. And in my opine a moment ago, I shared with everyone that every July 4th for the last 250 years has been different. It requires true intellectual dishonesty for you to be celebrating on Saturday something that happened on July 4th, 1776, when Thomas Jefferson didn't give a damn about you on July 4th, 1776. It's what America is becoming since July 4th, 1776, that's actually worth celebrating. The fact that we've found a way in human history to live together. That matters. So for me, of the myriad of decisions decided by the Supreme Court, regardless of how you feel about the fact pattern and who it impacts, the idea that the transgendered community, as a principle, cannot seek remedy under the federal Constitution, but that the court would turn their human rights over to the states, is no different than sending Dred Scott back to slavery. And it is no different than telling me or any one of us who might have a challenge under the Constitution that the federal court rejects our challenge and says, you need to go back and talk to your governor and your state legislature about it, because you have no rights in the federal Constitution that we are bound to respect. Dr. Wilmer Leon, a broad decision yesterday on human rights regardless of the fact pattern, when it came to turning transgendered rights back to the 50 states, back to the 3,500 counties, and back to the 20,000 different cities, and everyone who has an opinion about 1% of 1% of 1% of Americans who identified as trans. Dr. Leon.
I think the Supreme Court's mistake was not being clear enough and strong enough to say that transgendered females should not be playing girls or women's sports. I think they shouldn't have turned it back. They should have been very clear in that point. And I disagree with you on the Dred Scott comparison, and here's why. The inferiority of Dred Scott, the inferiority of Africans enslaved in the United States, the inferiority of African Americans is based upon racism, and in some instances is based upon eugenics, which is a bogus, false science. There is no biological difference between, other than skin tone, between Black people and white people. Women's sports was created so that girls could compete against other girls in an equal and fair context. Girls are defined as those with XX chromosomes. Males are XY. So I understand the sensitivities of the transgendered community, but that element of science, to me, is not debatable. And so when you try, the
court didn't offer that clarity, though, Dr. Leon. They did not offer that clarity. I agree with you.
And that's why I'm saying they made their mistake.
So if you're a transgendered African American where race does apply, you find yourself discriminated amongst the discriminated amongst the discriminated as less than 1% of 1% of 1%, therefore making that person the least of these, meaning that any one of us who goes to the federal court seeking a remedy for whatever our issue is, it doesn't have to be transgendered, but the likely remedy is that they turn us back over to the states, and that's exactly what they did to Dred. And he said, Supreme Court took away my rights.
I don't debate that point with you in the least. I think the court made a huge mistake in bailing out on the issue and sending it to the states, because now what you wind up with is not privileges and immunities. You don't wind up with everything being consistent across the board, and consistency is one of the things that's supposed to make the law. That's why precedent is supposed to be so important, so that we can predict what an outcome will be legally based upon an action that is taken, no matter where in the country you take the action. And I think the court made a huge mistake in doing it the way they did. My point is, I don't believe that transgendered women should be allowed to play girls' sports, because biologically they are not women.
Understood. The political football has been kicked, and now we can debate this out through all 50 states. We can debate it out through 3,500 different counties and 20,000 different cities, having not resolved the issue for 1% of 1% of 1% of Americans who just wanted to be recognized under the Constitution. I agree with you. They should have been specific to sports, but they didn't. It's a broad decision that impacts more than transgendered or the LGBT community, and I don't think the civil rights community should sleep on it. Dr. Leon, I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Other than love you back and love you more.
Can't wait to see you until next week. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. Dr. Wilmer Leon has been our special guest, a brilliant mind, a wonderful friend, and I learned so much from him, and I'm so honored that he's on our show. More on KBLA Talk 1580 when we come forward with Dr. Estad Yeri.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Black Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson is praising the Supreme Court's decision rejecting President Trump's effort to end birthright citizenship.
Today's decision allows our residents to continue to live, work, and contribute to the fabric of our city without fear of losing their most fundamental right.
Johnson says the ruling reaffirms that every child born in the U.S. is a citizen after the court found Trump's executive order targeting the 14th Amendment unlawful. Actor Danny Glover is opening up about his Alzheimer's diagnosis. In an exclusive Today interview, the 79-year-old said he's been living with the disease for several years and knows things will continue to change as it progresses. And Serena Williams' return to singles play ended with a first-round Wimbledon loss to Australia's Maya Joint. The 44-year-old fell in 3 sets Tuesday in her first professional singles match since 2022. Williams will play doubles with her sister Venus on Thursday. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation has been at the forefront of inflammatory bowel disease research and care for over 50 years. Learn more about research, education, and support at Crohn'sColitisFoundation.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Both of LA's NBA teams will not have their best player next season. The roster for the Lakers and Clippers will look a lot different after LeBron told the Lakers he wants to play with another team, and Kawhi Leonard was traded to the Toronto Raptors. The Clippers traded Kawhi for starting forwards Brandon Ingram and Grady Dick and first-round draft picks in 2027, 2031, and 2033. Kawhi, who played 7 seasons with the Clippers, turned 35 on Monday. It's obvious the Clippers want to rebuild with a younger roster. The Clippers started last season with the oldest roster in the NBA. The tennis world is hoping Serena Williams continues her comeback after losing her first-round singles match Tuesday at Wimbledon. In her first match since 2022, the 44-year-old Serena lost in 3 sets to Maya Joint of Australia. Serena is still planning to play doubles at Wimbledon with Venus. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
All I need is one mic. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. The headline in the newspaper read, Black leaders join forces to bring Destination Crenshaw toward the finish line. Now, beyond the headline phraseology of toward the finish line, if you actually read the article, it said that Black-owned contractors are now being mobilized, major new financing is being secured, and it is anticipated that construction activities will begin within the next weeks. That statement has more hedges than a Beverly Hills mansion, more hedges than a nervous groom's wedding vows written by a divorce lawyer. But it's funny how progress starts moving once somebody turns on a microphone. 4 weeks of KBLA editorials, and suddenly everyone has found their hard hats. It's amazing what happens when the community starts asking questions out loud, and this is why Black media matters. We don't need more empty promises. We need a finished project. Political accountability to Black fellow citizens means that elected officials and institutions must answer for their actions or inaction in ways that are real, measurable, and consequential when they fail to follow through. I suppose the good news here is that LA City Council President and 8th District Representative Marquise Harris Dawson is now officially on the record. But to be clear, he's also on the clock. Remember now, it is anticipated that construction activities will begin within the next weeks. We shall see. We have exercised our right to free speech, but there are other rights the Black business community can exercise as well. This is a classic example of a public nuisance claim, if ever there was one. Again, we shall see. What I can tell you is that Black business owners and Crenshaw community residents have been calling, emailing, and literally showing up in our lobby demanding more and asking how they can sign on to this effort. Put simply, after years of delay, the people have had enough. My big mama put it this way: once a task you have first begun, never finish until it is done. Be the labor great or small, do it well or not at all. Now, I need to put on my hard hat, go outside, and wait for these procrastination Crenshaw construction crews to show up. I'll let you know if and when they do. Trust and believe. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. As always, we welcome your feedback.
Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me.
Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. We're in the politics of our faith, Reverend Dr. S. Todd Yeary, who really needs no introduction. And I'm going to dive right in because this is the official July 4th Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. We will be rebroadcasting this show this coming Friday. So let me jump right in. Y'all can kill the music. Dr. Yeary, welcome forward to the show.
Always good to be with you. You always set me up on the front end. I didn't know we were going to be retelling this. I got to get it right the first time.
We're going to tell it because I got about a half a dozen questions for you, and I got to get them all done. We've got 5 minutes to answer this one. And I know what you're already going to say. So we're going to start right here, huh? We're going to do it right here. We're going to do it that way. I already know what you're going to say. Yeah. What to the American Negro does July 4th, 2026 mean?
You talk about one living today or one looking at today from a past perspective?
July 4th, 2026. What does it mean to the American Negro today?
Scary. Very scary for all of the progress that we believe we had documented to find ourselves in this precarious moment. I think is one that causes a deep concern and even a high level of anxiety to bear witness to kind of the erosion of the intentional outcomes of struggle. Makes this 250th nostalgic for some, consequential for others. And so I think we're in that spot of a very real and palatable tension between what the storybook would tell and what reality teaches us.
Dr. Yeary, is it intellectually dishonest for us to not take into account the celebration that we are being asked to participate in on July 4th, 2026, when we juxtapose it against the 249 other celebrations that show a certain progression in our struggle for a definition of our basic human rights and an understanding that we too are men, that we too are women, and that Jefferson, at the inception of the nation itself, had not given us consideration? Dr. Yeary, I think you're muted. I think I've lost Dr. Yeary. Dr. Yeary? We'll be coming forward with Dr. Yeary in just a moment. In the meantime, he'll be logging back in. I want to go through this series of questions that are very consistent with my opine in the first hour, because I want women, I want Native Americans, I want our brown brothers and sisters from Latin America. I want our working class white Americans who understand the politics of the war itself and the free state of Jones, if you will. Not everybody was with the Confederacy. Not all white folks are bad. Some folks recognized fairly early on that they were in the same position that we were in against the large agricultural interests and owners who used Briar Rabbit schemes to deprive us of our rights, not only after slavery, but in Reconstruction, crippled our coalition building and opportunities during Jim Crow, organized using Southern strategies after Brown versus the Board of Education, to recognize that every July 4th has taken on a different meaning. And we simply cannot call ourselves intellectually honest if we are not looking at the reality of where we are as a country on July 4th, 2026, just because a few firecrackers, a few pieces of barbecue, and some beer anesthetizes you to the reality that on July 4th, 1776, that was a very different America, a hostile America to Native Americans, to African Americans, to women, and that our long struggle for 250 years, if we celebrate anything, it is about the progress that we've made to reshape this piece of coal and to squeeze it and to turn it into some form of a diamond. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. We're looking at a different kind of July 4th on July 4th, 2026, unlike anything we've ever seen. More on KBLA Talk 1580 when we come forward with Dr. S. Todd Eury.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Wishing happy birthday to KBLA. 5 years old, yeah, with more that's coming your way. Congratulations, come on, y'all, let's celebrate. Happy birthday to KBLA. Look, 5 years deep and we still going up. Built it from the ground, never real, no one else. Real talk on the air, then the truth get heard. Every day the proof getting served. He had a vision and he stayed with the plan. Now they tapped in from the beach to the land. Never back down, 7 days of the week, still going up now. We 5 years deep. Wishing happy birthday to KBLA. Happy smiling, you did it with 5 years today. Congratulations, come on y'all, let's celebrate. Happy birthday to KBLA.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS like Mark?
I've been doing home remodeling for 30 plus years, but the economy crashed. I wound up losing my home, losing my job, and on top of that, owing the IRS a ton of money. I owed the IRS $114,000. It really, truly was the worst part of my life.
Then Mark found tax relief advocates.
On news radio, I heard about TRA, and I thought, what's the worst that could happen? So I picked up the phone and I called them. When it was all said and done, TRA settled my $114,000 debt for $100, and I'm telling you, I was ecstatic. Could not believe it. Would recommend TRA to anyone.
If you owe 10 or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS, don't lose hope. Do what Mark did and call TRA for a consultation.
But TRA did. They gave me a second chance, and I'm forever grateful.
Visit TRA.com or call 800-575-8935. 800-575-8935. That's 800-575-8935.
This November, you'll decide who leads California. So shouldn't you hear directly from the people asking for your vote? Join us for California Voices, a political town hall and ballot forum, Saturday, October 3rd, 2026. Meet candidates running for governor, lieutenant governor, attorney general, and other major statewide and local offices, including Mayor of Los Angeles, city attorney, and LA County Sheriff. Get clear, nonpartisan breakdowns of the propositions on your November ballot, both sides, no spin. And ask your questions directly, in real conversation, face to face. California Voices is brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 and the Empowerment Congress, giving you the information you need before you vote. Mark your calendar, Saturday, October 3rd, 2026, California Voices. Follow KBLA 1580 for details and download the KBLA 1580 app. Your vote, your voice. Be there.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Junior Show. King Wally drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the me. KBLA.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. It's Wealthy Wednesday on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show and the Politics of Our Faith with Reverend Dr. S. Todd Eury, who was in Chicago earlier today. He's now moving through Oklahoma, and I'm grateful that Dr. Eury is joining us. Dr. Eury, welcome forward to the show.
Don't tell nobody, but I'm still in the city. My flight's tonight.
Okay. Dr. Eury is the senior pastor of the Douglas Memorial Community Church of Baltimore and affiliates. Dr. Eury is also former chief executive of the Rainbow Push Coalition. He served on the national board of the National Action Network, Reverend Sharpton's organization, from 2015 to 2021, past political action chair for the Maryland State Conference of the NAACP, and a civil rights attorney and public policy advocate who has 1 foot in the pulpit, 1 foot in the courtroom, both feet in reality. And he's walking us through July 4th. Dr. Eury, I really appreciate your thinking about how the American Negro might see July 4th, 2026 as perilous. I want to go down this kind of order, if you will, of other groups and from your historical interpretation of the evolving nature of July 4th, how they might see or correctly interpret or reflect upon the nation's independence. What is the meaning of the July 4th, 2026 holiday if you're Native American?
Two words come to mind as I have 2 feet planted on the south side of Chicago at this very moment, in a place founded by a brother named Jean-Point Dusable, who, if he lived today, would be part of the lineage of the termination and cancellation of temporary protected status for immigrants from Haiti. The Native American, the indigenous descendant, the original occupant of this sacred land, probably sums 2026, this 250th, in 2 words that are indicative of the contradiction. That's manifest destiny. That somewhere between the Indian Removal Act and the later efforts to try to compromise with indigenous descendants, they're probably pointing out that the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence is still a story of contradiction that is still yet unresolved. And I think it is important that those voices who have been forced to the margins and live in the space designated for the oppressed, that their voices and their critiques have to be elevated in this moment, lest we come away with the gloss at the end of the weekend, thinking that somehow or other the story tale of this 250 years does not obligate us to the ongoing work that is necessary if we're going to ever come remotely close to that place called justice.
Dr. Eury, I appreciate that. Very thoughtful. Continuing on the line of questioning, what to women, regardless of their race, their class, their caste, or their status, what to women, given the long and troubled history, is the meaning of July 4th, 2026?
Because there's somebody probably sitting close to a button because of delay, I'm just going to say, oh, snap. The wage distinctions, the proximity to which we find ourselves, where a woman still does not have autonomy over her own body, where the value of a woman's participation and contribution to this larger fabric of what's supposed to be a modern or postmodern reality is still undervalued and underrecognized. When we mark the calendar by 2 dates, one is the date at which a woman's wages reaches the equality point, and it's not on day one for sure. And so for women and the advocacy for women's rights, I think they are troubled, and that's to probably put it mildly. When we consider not only the narrative, but the lack of energy around policy change and policy advancement to make sure that the interests and the rights of women are not only protected, but actually advanced where they are on par with particularly white men.
Continuing, what to the American farmer, given the history of agriculture, given the tariffs, and given all that they have encountered over the last, I'm not going to just blame it on the Trump administration. We've been without a farm bill in this country so many times in the last several decades, it's almost impossible to fathom its ramifications for the family farmer. To an American farmer, what is the meaning of July 4th, 2026?
Some folk ain't gonna make it because they're not gonna have food. That's the reality, the productivity of the American farmer. And if we were to get more precise and consider Black farmers who still find themselves fighting against the current for everything from access to government-backed financing and access to capital, to access to markets and distribution processes that allow them to get their produce to market, that there is this, I think, very clear understanding that if we don't work these issues out, there are going to be whole pockets of communities that are not going to make it because of the inability to find sustainable food sources that not only takes care of some of us, but is necessary for all of us.
I think you all know exactly where I'm going with my line of questioning, and I want to apologize for any technical difficulties that we may be having. And Dr. Uri, we may have to have you go out and come back in on the tech side, but I'm not going to back up off of my line of questioning because I do want to know, what does July 4th, 2026 look like for students, many of whom went to college expecting to graduate. Now they find themselves confronting a very different economy with AI. Some are being told that they don't need a college education, some of whom want to be doctors and lawyers, and now with the attack on diversity, equity, and inclusion, what does July 4th, 2026 look like to the student?
A great deal of uncertainty. The economic future for the country in a global setting is hard to measure because this government is not really looking at globalism as the economic framework. And so the pathways to career opportunity, educational opportunity are very much in question. And with the advent of artificial intelligence, some of the career fields are really kind of in a state of flux. Others are being decommissioned as professions, such as nursing, because there is a lack of adequate and credible understanding about what careers, what worker spaces are necessary for communities to thrive in not just 2026 America, but in the 2026 version of America in a global context.
Doc, I think I'm going to have you come and go out again for me on that because I can continue this. But I do want clarity because I don't want in my line of questioning for any one of us to be confused in what I'm trying to get at here. And that is really simple, that every one of us is going to have a very different understanding of the holiday based upon our reality, and in that reality, how we define our liberty. Dr. King struggled with this question of liberty, and Abraham Lincoln also struggled with this question of liberty. And rather than debate the issue of liberty, because for Lincoln's perspective, he argued that for some people, the word liberty means to do with themselves as they choose. For others, he said, the word liberty means to do with other selves what someone else may choose to do with other people. He said, not only are the two concepts irreconcilable, and then he quotes the Bible in explaining the difference between your definition of liberty and my definition of liberty. That's where I'm going with this. And so, Dr. Uri, just before you came back, you were answering the question about how a student might see July 4th, 2026 against the backdrop of this.
Yeah, very, very uncertain. Hopefully that sound is much better now. Because the global economy is in flux and the national posture about its place in a global economy is being rejected. Many of those who are seeking educational opportunity, particularly in the United States, are trying to figure out where are they going to fit. We often talk about get in where you fit in. Well, where we fit in is not really all that certain. And so that's the uncertainty that's causing, I think, a great deal of angst as to one, where the opportunity is going to be, what are going to be the pathways to get there. And for some of those careers that have sustained the development of middle-class communities across various neighborhoods, their professions are being disinvested and even disrespected. When we think about nursing and allied health professions, those professions that built Black middle-class communities are actually being, for lack of a better term, disrespected in this space where I think there's not yet panic, but certainly a great deal of concern.
I've only got about 3 minutes before we come forward, and I think you know the routine for us here at KBLA. I don't want to be accused of being limited in my thinking or my scope. But if I experienced the Holocaust and I migrated to the United States and experienced not only anti-Semitism in Europe, but experienced anti-Semitism here in the United States, what is the meaning of July 4th to me?
A bit differently, because the pathway that I think they find themselves getting here is looked at from a different lens. While anti-Semitism in its modern form is certainly of great concern, we also recognize that for the survivor of the Holocaust that finds themselves in the United States, they actually found initially a welcoming space and an advocate for justice in a world context, that the United States actually went to bat in some ways for them to get reparations from particularly Germany. That issue, that contrast, I think is an interesting one, because for some who have found themselves in the United States in 2026 by virtue of a migrant journey, their appreciation for 2026 looks much different than those who were forced to come here. Did you
At the
just
same
lose
time, we
me?
have about a minute and a half. Dr. Uri, can you hear me? Dr.
I
Uri,
can't
can you hear
hear
me?
you. I can't hear you. Can you hear me? Yeah, I can hear you.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Vice President J.D. Vance praised the military during remarks at Naval Air Station Oceana in Virginia Beach ahead of America's 250th anniversary. He thanked service members for protecting the country and said their work allows Americans to pursue the American dream.
They know
that if we ask, you guys will go and make the impossible possible.
Vance also credited President Trump with giving the military clear missions and the tools to complete them. New developments are expected in the death of 1-year-old Cohen Wiley after an officer-involved shooting in Mississippi. Black civil rights attorney Ben Crump says the family will release findings from a forensic review of the gunshot wound. The family is also calling for all police and Walmart video from the June 14th incident to be released. And Victor Willis, lead singer and co-founder of The Village People, has died at 74. The group confirmed he passed away Monday after a short but aggressive illness. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation has been at the forefront of inflammatory bowel disease research and care for over 50 years. Learn more about research, education, and support at Crohn'sColitisFoundation.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Both of LA's NBA teams will not have their best player next season. The roster for the Lakers and Clippers will look a lot different after LeBron told the Lakers he wants to play with another team, and Kawhi Leonard was traded to the Toronto Raptors. The Clippers traded Kawhi for starting forwards Brandon Ingram and Grady Dick and first-round draft picks in 2027, 2031, and 2033. Kawhi, who played 7 seasons with the Clippers, turned 35 on Monday. It's obvious the Clippers want to rebuild with a younger roster. The Clippers started last season with the oldest roster in the NBA. The tennis world is hoping Serena Williams continues her comeback after losing her first-round singles match Tuesday at Wimbledon. In her first match since 2022, the 44-year-old Serena lost in 3 sets to Maya Joy of Australia. Serena is still planning to play doubles at Wimbledon with Venus. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Whoa,
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
In a world full of noise, one station keeps it real. KBLA Talk 1580, where the conversation goes deeper, the voices sound like yours, and the issues that matter most to our community take center stage. Progressive, powerful, unapologetically us. Whether you're driving through the city or tuning in from your home or office, join the public square. KBLA Talk 1580. Your home for talk that enlightens, encourages, and empowers. Listen live on our free KBLA 1580 app, on our website at KBLA1580.com, or on your radio dial at 1580 AM.
Unapologetically progressive.
Don't be anxious or confused about AI. Take control of your career when you get the skills to tackle real business problems and design specialized solutions. HR Dive reported that entry-level talent with applied AI credentials can receive up to a 25% salary boost. But where do you find training that you can trust? Future-proof your career and deliver more value with Humans Lead the Way AI. Their hybrid learning courses use practical definitions, real-world examples, and strategic insights to help you and your team understand AI with confidence. No magic, no hacks, no shortcuts. Just practical knowledge that helps you use AI more successfully. Don't wait. AI can never replace people who know how to use it well. Register for courses today at humansleadtheway.com. That's humansleadtheway.com.
Point. Hey, you okay? You don't normally miss those shots.
I just haven't been as regular lately, and it's making me feel sluggish.
You should try Metamucil. It's been a game changer for me. Metamucil's plant-based psyllium fiber helps trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Ace, you're moving better than you were last week.
Definitely.
Metamucil keeps you moving. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Learn more at metamucil.com.
And the match is about to begin.
Most of the team is out with COVID-19, so there'll be some substitutes tonight.
What's this? We have an unexpected guest on the field.
It's a dog, but they could do with extra players.
She's going for the ball.
Are front paws hands or feet?
Soccer season is full of surprises, and COVID-19 could be one of them. If you test positive, prescription medications may help. Ask your doctor if they're right for you. Learn more at PfizerForAll.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Quality drops the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on Wealthy Wednesdays and the Politics of Our Faith with Dr. S. Todd Yeary. I want to thank our producer and I want to thank our engineers who during these roaming power outages can quickly reestablish our show. And I'm extremely grateful because I don't know a subject matter more important than the one that we are engaging in with the mind of Dr. S. Todd Yeary. Dr. Yeary, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. I understand that he will be right back. I obviously want the answer to several questions, including but not limited to how various Americans see and interpret the holiday at the same time. And I would make the argument that if I were president of the United States, I would understand that at the hour of the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence, we all do not see our independence the same. That no July 4th in American history has been the same, except for the first 157. And then from July 4th until the Emancipation Proclamation, the next 87 July 4ths, they were all the same. But every July 4th after 1863 has taken on a different meaning as the progress of the human mind has advanced to understand the rights of people, from a monarchy to the idea of democracy. I find this understanding to be particularly important for the chief executive of our nation, whether it's a Democrat or Republican, a liberal or a conservative. At any given hour in American history, July 4th is celebrated differently everywhere. And it is not a national celebration, unfortunately, except we do find unity in the men and women who paid the ultimate sacrifice that we might have the right to interpret July 4th differently. So we lean on the wars, from the Revolutionary War to the present, honoring the men and the women who paid the ultimate sacrifice for us to have our opinions. But with that said, I want to continue my questioning of Dr. S. Todd Yeary. Dr. Yeary, welcome forward to the show. Unmute yourself, Doc.
All right, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Dr. Yeary, I want to keep our line of questioning going, and I know that we are on a time frame here.
Yep.
I was asking the question about the Palestinians and the Arab Americans. How would they see July 4th, 2026?
Kind of an interesting contrast in that July 4th is about a nation's independence juxtaposed against the denial of another nation their independence. If the principles are universal, then why are they not applied universally? And so I think they would be kind of curious as to where are the limitations to the principles of a Declaration of Independence as they apply to other people and other nations.
Let's say that I had a preferential treatment program for South Africans, let's say white South Africans. And I haven't even been here since last July 4th, but I'm entering the country, let's say, since last July 4th. What to the South African immigrant who just entered the United States under a preferential program, what to them is the meaning of July 4th?
to the South African immigrant that gets special treatment, or to
That
the
one I
South
did.
African immigrant who needs to go through the immigration process?
We'll look at both of them. Let's start with the one with the preferential treatment.
Well, the one with the preferential treatment thinks that America is great. I've gotten a special pathway. I'm acknowledged for my distinguished presence and my elevated place in society. And I now get to expand that globally, not just from the context of having been given that same kind of preferential treatment by the same U.S. model, right? We understand the apartheid system was actually modeled after what the Dutch South African government learned from looking at the United States post 1896 and Plessy v. Ferguson. So on one hand, I think there's an admiration. On the other hand, I think there's a bit of suspicion. And that's really, I think, the reality of where July 4th, 2026 sits writ large, is 250 years into this, quote, experiment of America. For some, there is admiration, even a sense of idealism. For others, I think there's a bit of suspicion. And I think for others, there's still a sense of maybe some reserved optimism, just based on the fact that there have been efforts at progress, but there's more progress that is needed.
What about the South African who has to go through a process? What the meaning is July 4th for them?
You mean that those that don't get the preferred path?
Those who don't get the preferred status.
Those who don't get the preferred path are trying to understand how the system really works. Because on one hand, when you follow those rules, the rules are constantly changing. So is there any kind of reliability to the understanding of what this experiment, this Declaration of Independence really means 250 years later? And is there really, I think there's some questioning about, do Americans even know for themselves? I was in a car riding to the airport yesterday, and a brother from West Africa was listening to the news and having that very conversation about how entitlement for some is recognized globally, and for others, their limitations also recognized globally. And so I think the contradictions are stark, very real, and necessary that we recognize them even 250 years into this.
Now, I've been in a lot of conversations in my life, and clearly for 17 years in the Congress of the United States, you know I've been in some fairly interesting rooms. But we are engaging in this conversation with Dr. Yeary in an Oval Office style conversation, where someone is advising the President of the United States of how the American people perceive the 250th anniversary of the nation. I would make the case that this president is probably not inquisitive enough to be able to rise to the occasion of Gettysburg and deliver immortal words on saving the Union and strengthening our republic for future generations, even acknowledging some of the contradictions that have existed historically, but also pointing to the progress that we've made to get us to this point, which is, from my perspective, something to celebrate. Continuing my line of questioning, if I were a member of the transgendered community, regardless of the issue of sports, but when it comes to their human rights, how would they interpret what happened yesterday, this coming Saturday on July 4th? And what is the meaning of American liberty and emancipation from their perspective?
Betrayal. Just that simple.
One word.
Betrayal.
Betrayal. How about 350,000 Haitian families that no longer have temporary protective status?
Typical, not surprising. You know, the government has been pretty hostile toward certain communities for a long, long time. It is almost like, oh, here we go again, right? You have a few moments where you may not have necessarily optimism, but you certainly don't feel the defensiveness of the moment. But when folks lose the basic capacity to recognize human dignity in the midst of human despair, That is now a different kind of framework where the question becomes, are there any conditions under which I can rely upon, let's say trust, someone who refuses even under the most dire of conditions to recognize the humanity and the dignity of people who are indeed suffering?
Dr. Yeary, I can't thank you enough for the way in which you've approached the subject matter. I do have a few more questions when we come forward here on KBLA. And I think as you reflect upon your word of hope, this question that Abraham Lincoln raises in the Gettysburg Address about these men having paid the ultimate sacrifice and our inability to add or detract what they accomplished here, but that the great task remaining before us is to ensure, against the backdrop of every civilization that has ever existed, that government of, for, and by the people shall not perish from the face of the earth. I'd like to hear your insights on that word of hope and whether or not we are close to losing that vision of our country. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Dr. S. Todd Yeary is our very special guest on Wealthy Wednesdays. More on KBLA Talk 1580 when we come forward.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
We got to laugh the pain away.
Join Chris Spencer and Friends live. Chris Spencer and Friends take the stage Sunday, July 12th, 5:30 p.m. at the Alex Theater for Stand Up for Students, a night of comedy benefiting Pasadena Rosebud Academy. Pasadena Rosebud Academy was lost in the Altadena Eaton fire. For over 20 years, they held our kids down. Now it's time for us to hold them up. Chris Spencer and Friends, featuring Red Thomas, Felicia Folks, Chase Anthony, and Jesus Trejo, with DJ Aisha Irene on the music. One night, big laughs, real community. Join James Farr of KBLA Talk 1580 and be part of a night where laughter meets purpose. Chris Spencer and Friends, Stand Up for Students, Sunday, July 12th at 5:30 p.m. Tickets at the Alex Theater box office and the Alex Theater website at www.thealex.com. TheAlex.com. Chris Spencer and Friends. Don't miss it.
We got to laugh the pain away.
This event is sponsored by Bradlaugh APC.
I think my LADWP bill is due, but nothing's come in the mail yet.
You still get paper bills?
Yeah, it's how I keep track of things.
Clearly, it's not working. You can't remember when it's due. You need to sign up for paperless billing. I get an email when my LADWP bill is due. I never have to wait on the mail, and I can see 7 years of bills in my online account. Plus, first-time signups get a $10 bill credit.
$10 bill credit for new LADWP paperless billing signups. LADWP.com/paperless.
Going to a World Cup match in LA this summer? Ditch the parking stress and ride Metro. With direct service from across LA County, it's the easy way to get there for just $1.75 each way.
Small businesses are the heart of America. Like you, these entrepreneurs started out with a dream and a drive to build a better life. If you have a small business idea to grow or challenge to face, you don't have to go it alone. Since 1964, SCORE has helped millions of entrepreneurs build their businesses. Today, they are the nation's largest nonprofit source of expert mentoring, resources, and education. Whether you're starting out, building back, or have worked at it for years, SCORE will match you with specialized mentors. Our thousands of volunteers provide the guidance and connections you need for free. Your success is waiting. SCORE is ready to help. Find a mentor today at SCORE.org. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580,
connecting you with services and solutions. The BLM Center for Black Power is a hub for Black activism in the city of Los Angeles, a standalone nonprofit affiliated with Black Lives Matter LA. The venue is home to live events, meetings, and organizing drives for Black-led community-based organizations. It is also the base of operations for Black Lives Matter LA. Built on what used to be a nuisance property owned by an arms dealer, the BLM Center for Black Power is in the heart of Leimert Park and has opened its doors to everything from youth organizers to toy drives to film screenings and community town hall meetings. To make a donation or make a request, please visit blmla.org. That's blmla.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
See website for details. MyFastCash.com is not a lender and does not make credit decisions. Must be 18 years old. Not available in all states.
The mechanic called. The repair's going to be $750.
Oh, we got rent and the car payment. On top of groceries, gas, and other bills. We don't have an extra $750 right now.
We could try MyFastCash.com. When short on expenses, you can go to MyFastCash.com and can get money as soon as the next day.
MyFastCash.com.
Yes, they can connect you to one of the largest lender networks, and you can get a loan even with bad credit. We can be approved for up to $5,000 fast.
$5,000? That must be a long process.
Nope, approval can happen in just a few minutes right from your phone, and funds could hit our account by tomorrow.
If you have a regular source of income and a bank account, you could be approved for up to $5,000, even with bad credit history. And the cash can hit your bank account the next day.
Honey, I'm going to myfastcash.com right now.
Thank goodness.
If you need extra cash, go to myfastcash.com. That's myfastcash.com. myfastcash.com.
Loan availability, approval, and funding times vary. Terms apply.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Polly drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. We are in the final segment of our show today. Dr. Yuri, welcome forward to the show. It's so grateful for your 4th of July participation.
Always glad to be able to hang out with you, especially this weekend.
Dr. Yuri, there's so many different angles that could be taken on the holiday by so many different perspectives, by so many different people who have a very, very different definition of what it means to be liberated, to be free in the U.S. context. Abraham Lincoln was very specific. He chose not to use the word liberty when it came specifically to the condition that African Americans had experienced. He chose the word emancipation. He wanted to designate this event as different than any other liberating event. Do you think that the idea of emancipation for the American people is still something worth fighting for?
You ask a profound question in this regard. To emancipate is to be freed from the control of another. It's almost like a permissive liberation. And I don't want us to get stuck like we're asking folks for permission to be free. Emancipation, I think, for Lincoln was the recognition that he had power and authority at his disposal that could be used in that regard, but it should not be assumed or presumed that for those who are seeking and demanding agency, and the full utility of their whole selves. We're not asking to be emancipated. We are liberating ourselves from the control of another, and whether or not it's voluntary is on them, not on us. We are willingly and willfully continuing to push back on this notion that the founders had this very narrow interpretation that only included certain people. And if that is what they meant, we refuse to stay confined to that construct. And so we've got to keep pushing that notion of emancipation 250 years later, and some roughly 160 or so years post-Lincoln takes on a little different meaning. And now that we've seen what demand means, Frederick Douglass's words, right? Demand is what we bring, not some sort of complicit asking somebody to grant us some pity that somehow or other we would not otherwise be entitled.
That's interesting, Doc. And I know that we have, I want to leave some serious time for your reflection on this, our show. John Meacham refers to this series of events, the great American historian, as America's second founding. And I'm thinking in this moment that America is in need of a third founding. I'm not prepared to say third Reconstruction, because I understand the history that there is an intermittent period of Jim Crow between first and second Reconstruction, and I don't expect anything other than a Jim Crow as second Reconstruction comes to an end. How long it lasts, I do not have the answer to. But maybe in your word of hope, there is still hope for the idea that government of, for, and by the people will not perish and shall not perish from the face of the earth. A third founding, Dr. Uri, a word of hope?
A third founding, but certainly a different set of founders, right? Who convenes this gathering that sets the course and charts the way for the expansion of an ideal that makes room for more than those represented by the embodiment of the founders themselves. It's the tension between what the Declaration was and what the Declaration has meant. So sometimes we have to recognize that we stand in the contradiction between lofty language and lived reality. And so for some, the anniversary this weekend is an inheritance. For others of us, it's a testimony of endurance. We've had to withstand a relentless resistance to our full participation. And so some of us still find ourselves looking up. Every generation that had to struggle found itself looking up, reaching out, pressing forward. And so the words on parchment meant nothing until they showed up in public spaces. And so we've got to take our protest and make sure it turns into progress, and our pain always expresses the highest form of possibility. Government of the people, for the people, and by the people is not an ideal, it's a demand. And so we bring our demands to the 250th anniversary of the Declaration, and we declare that we're not changing our demand, and we're not going to be silent until we get what we deserve.
Dr. Uri, I can't think of more profound words to be offered at this hour while we celebrate, and some of us commemorate, the idea of all men and yes, women, a friendly amendment from Elizabeth Cady Stanton, are created equal. The fact of the matter is there are a couple of dozen grievances, petitions that are part of the Declaration of Independence on the monarchy trying to control the judiciary, on the idea of taxation without representation, looking at all that has happened in the redistricting space as African Americans still fight both at the state legislative level and at the congressional level for their fair share of representation, only to have it stripped away from us in the Calais decision on July 4th, 2026, and during this period. And so the holiday is as troubling as it was when Frederick Douglass articulated it in Rochester, New York on July 5th. No truer words could have ever been spoken, and no greater thought in this hour of our reflection upon July 4th could be greater than the one we've had right here at KBLA Talk 1580. Dr. Urey, thank you for joining us today.
Always good to be with me, my brother. Don't tell nobody I'm on the south side.
I appreciate you. I promise I won't. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Up next, D.L. Hughley right here at KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.